Big screen.
Okay. Is it on there?
Yep, go.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Angela. She says, "Oh, you so fancy. How do you have that on your page? I need to do that. Bravo, Floyd." We'll show you, Angela. He's over there figuring out little things that he can do extra. I asked him to do the screen thing. He's got that. So we'll just wait a couple minutes and see if anybody else is going to join us. Yeah, 8. So tonight I'm going to make, we're chilling with the scarecrows. Last week I showed you some scarecrows that I got at Hobby Lobby. So we're just going to bounce back and forth between Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween. I have maybe 2 Halloween more to make, and then I'm not going to make any more of those. So I've never talked about what we use to make wreaths. So first of all, a good cutting mat is a must. It's a self-healing cutting mat. You can use scissors on it. You can use your rotary cutter. Here's my Fiskars rotary cutter, and change the blade out. They get dull after cutting the mesh for a little while, especially the more wreaths you make, the more dull it'll get faster. But you can just cut on these all day long. Now over time, this is a newer mat, but my old one got marks at 10, 20, 30, so because that's where we usually do our marks at. So, but this is good, and it's pink on the other side because I love pink. Scissors, good scissors. These are my Ginger scissors. My grandma taught me if you're going to sew or do anything, use Ginger. They're really expensive, but if you have a coupon, I used a half off coupon at Joann's, so that saved me a lot of money. They were about $30 and that was half off. What else do we need? Scissors. If you're going to put any adornments on your wreath, any embellishments, good glue gun. I haven't got a cordless one. Maybe Santa Claus will bring me one this year. And a glue pot. I actually started with this little itty bitty glue pot. And I can't bring it over here. It's kind of zip tied over there to the side. But, hi, Pam. I got other people popping up in my live. Go. Okay. So, what else do we need? A lot of people use flip chips. I use clothespins, because if they break, you just throw it away. Got a whole bag of 50 or 100. I use, if I'm going to put holes in my sign, these are a beadsmith. You get them in the jewelry department of any of your favorite craft shows or stores. This is a 1.5 millimeter. It's a very good size. It's small enough to where you don't see it hardly, but yet 26 gauge wire will fit through it just fine. If you're going to put a bow on your wreath, if you're great at handmade bows, wonderful. I have arthritis in my fingers, so I can never make a bow by hand to save my life. When I first started making wreaths, none of my wreaths had bows on them. None. Finally, I got the Easy Bow Maker. We'll get it out here in a little bit. And I just watched a lot of tutorials. I thought I would never ever be able to make a bow, and I'm okay at it now. So watch tutorials on making bows. We're going to need our mesh. We're going to use this mossy green poly jute. It's not shiny at all. It's more of an earthy type of mesh. And then we're going to use, let me show you the rolls. We're going to use another poly mesh. It's chocolate. And then we're going to use 2 metallics, a cream and an orange. I fell in love with this cream for the fall that I bought 6 rolls of it last time I ordered. So I was going to use, I had a picture with the orange and the black border orange mesh, but I didn't like it with the green and the brown, so out it went. So that's that. So here's our sign. I did not make this one. I already had it. I have a 6 cubey little shelf over in the corner, and it's full of signs. So I'm trying to use those signs up and try to not have them sit around. So we're going to use that pretty soon. Need your wreath form. You can buy pre-made work forms. that have the real thick ties on them at, you know, Craft Outlet, or I didn't see any. Yeah, I did see some at Michael's today. They had a few. But I have always, I did one. I bought one and I did not like it because a lot of people just leave them throughout their wreath showing. That's not my preference. If you do it, that's great for you. But I just put the fuzzy sticks on there, Chanel stems, about 4 inches apart. If you can't figure out what 4 inches apart, or maybe you don't have one of these mats, if you just tie them on here and you fold them over, there's going to be about 4 inches. So I've got 10 ties on the outside and 8 on the inside. We're going to use Scarecrow and moss green and orange plaid ribbon. This is 2.5. This is 1.5. I've already dovetailed my corners on 3 of them. I'll show you how to do the last one. And then this has become like a go-to. I've gone through like 3 rolls of this. I used it on our deer head wreath that I made. I like it. And then of course our little different shaped pumpkins. So that'll be good. That, you know, that's whatever you want in your wreath. You can make just a mesh wreath. I seen someone post one today that she had no ribbons in her wreath, and it still looked pretty. So depending what materials you use, it's all up to you what you put in yours. And then I've got a goodie basket here that I don't plan it. I mean, I plan the main thing or the sign, but I've got a little scarecrow on a stick. He was on base. I kind of yanked him off. You know, I've got little orange and yellow beads, and if y'all know me, you know I work at Walmart, and they brought out a big shipper and dropped it out in the aisle, and they have these little velvet pumpkins in different colors. They even have white, because I got some. And I got some white sunflowers. Not sure if I'm going to use those or not. But here is the main character, Mr. Scarecrow. I did not give him an enema because he's a little heavy on the bottom. But then Walmart has these cute little pumpkins, little orange plaid, more orange plaid. And then I have just a white one, cream colored with little speckles. I got this out. It's another little pumpkin I got at Hobby Lobby, or a scarecrow. So I never know what all I'm going to use. See where these come from. Oh, these came from Walmart too. They're like little orange pods. So I just kind of throw some stuff in a basket and design as I go. So, what else we got? Hi Chelsea. Hi Pam. So we're going to do woodland ruffles for the base. There's only so many things that you can do with a wreath. You know, you can do the poofs on the base, and then you can do ruffles, and then you can do rolls. Tonight we're just going to do the woodland ruffle, which kind of looks on rolls on the end, and rolls. That's all we're going to do. And then put our ribbons and make a bow and everything else. So I was just trying to think of something a little bit different. So here's our mesh. It is cut at 30 inches. And this is, a woodland ruffle is a cross between rolls and a ruffle. So it's great for if you have anything that is like fraying on the end when you cut it, no matter what you cut it with. Some people even use a wood burner and a tempered glass to cut their mesh. It does help because mesh is plastic, unless you have the jute that runs through it, then you have some materials, but it'll melt it together. Have you ever heard of people using like food savers? You know, the cheaper ones, they'll put the mesh in there and then they put the lid down and melt it that way. That's a lot of work. I'm not going there. So woodland ruffle, we're going to roll it about 3 times on this end, and we're going to clip it. And then we're going to turn it around, and we're going to put 3 rolls on this side. And then we've got all this in the middle. We're going to roll it. Did you switch the camera?
No, you didn't tell me.
Okay, go ahead. He's going to switch it so you guys can see down close. So see, kind of like a butterfly. So when you put your ruffles on, your woodland ruffles, you can put them down. You kind of see all the smooth side, but I like to see my rolls, so I put them up. So we'll make a few, and then we'll put some on. posted at the bottom of the screen there. We now have a YouTube page. Yay! He's in charge of that. So he got one of my lives. I think my last one. Was it my last one? Lloyd, was it the last one you loaded to YouTube?
What?
Was it the last one you loaded to YouTube? So it was the last one where I made the winter, the kisses, snowflakes or kisses from heaven. So that one is on YouTube. So if you wouldn't mind going on your Facebook and hitting that S button, that'll help me grow my business. I did post a couple more signs tonight. Or one at least, no, two. Well, no, I haven't posted the other one. I made a cute cow. It says, aren't I moveless? Or don't I look moveless? Cows and pigs are like a really big thing this year. He's a cute cow though. Then I put the gnome. Got the gnome out there. See, what did it say? It said, oh, gnome for Christmas. Or gnome for the holidays. That's it. Gnomes are in. Gnomes are really in. I only bought 2 from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to have to order some more before they're out. Wasn't scrolling. Facebook is known for that lately. Okay. So I have some artificial leaves over here too, if we wanted to get fancy. We'll see what time takes us. I hate to keep people too long. It's like, is she ever going to get done with this wreath? And then I get tired too. So this will be my last wreath for probably a week or so. I'm gonna have a little procedure on my foot tomorrow, and I have to be grounded to my chair, so I can't even do anything up here. I'm not allowed to come up here. I have to be grounded to my recliner. So I guess I'll make signs. I can do that. I bought me a bow dabra because I'm always sticking things inside my easy bow maker, and then I have to pound my little dowels back in. So I bought me a bow dabra, not to make bows, but to use as an extra hand. Because I can't even do, some people put rolls in their hand and still roll some more. I can't do that. Got a few made here. So we're going to start, let's start on the inside. It's about 10 ties on the outside and 8 on the inside. That's 18. So how does everybody like wearing masks? So I know here in Ohio we just got the bad news that we have to wear masks out in public. I know some of my grandchildren are not going to go to school. Their mom's going to school them at home. I know at work I don't enjoy wearing one for 10 hours, but so we're going to do these. Yeah, let's do them sideways. You can do them up and down. I forget the other camera's there. Yeah, we're going to do them sideways this time. I think I did them up and down last time. This mesh is really awesome for not raveling. I even cut someone with the scissors the other day because I put my cutter over there and didn't want to go get it. I just needed one piece. I know everybody's hot. They have this warnings everywhere for hot weather. I was chatting with somebody the other day. Said it was 125 with the heat index. It's like, go fry an egg on your sidewalk. That's how hot it is. It wasn't too bad here today. I'm not sure what it got up to, but it wasn't too awfully bad. This is more like a material too. The poly jute is. It's just, it's not so, it still does stick to itself, but, I don't know. It's just a smoother texture than the regular Deco mesh, especially the basic mesh. If you ever are online and you see something that says basic mesh, that is your plain Jane solid color, no pretties going through it mesh. It's cheap. It's good for, I have like some of it in the 21-inch to do a base with. Makes good base because you're going to cover most of it. Get you a weight. I have some boards that I varnished and put some vinyl lettering on. I seen a lady, she's got a little rock with the paw print painted on it. Especially when your mesh is down towards the beginning of the roll. It'll get really tight like this. You know, in the middle it's a little loose. So you always want to roll it in the same way that the natural roll is. If you try to roll it the other way, your rolls will look a little funny. Just walk it up through the middle. Try to make sure that you're staying in the middle. You don't want off unbalanced butterflies. So Michael's is putting out their fall stuff today and some Christmas. They had little bins of stuff. I don't want to wait till it's on sale. I did buy a couple just because I want to make that one or two more Halloween wreaths. They had like pink and black flowers with fake skeleton hands. Some black hats, like the steampunk hats. So I thought I'd come on a little later this time. I was trying to, you're always going to hit somebody else's live. You know, I'm in several groups that we all support each other and we post our creations, and sometimes, you know, we get feedback on them. You know, I don't like this. We are our worst critics. I have found that out. I keep saying I don't like it, and my husband will tell me it looks fine, but he's a guy, and not that there's nothing wrong with guys' opinions. We have quite a few male designers around. There's Scott from Waterman's Loft and Damon from Deco Exchange. Told Floyd he could make a wreath while I was laid up in my recliner. He didn't like that idea. Not quite sure what it would look like. Probably be just a bunch of rolls. I'm number one. Floyd is the IT department, Angela. Is Becky on? Okay, so we got our outer ring all done. This is a lot more, I mean, it's still stiff, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more soft than some other stuff. So now we're going to do the 8 ties in the middle. The last 2 lives I had done, my ties were darn near the exact same color as my mesh, and I kept losing them. This one isn't too bad. You kind of want your ties to blend in with your mesh. I don't leave my ties real long. Some people will take a pencil and do little curly cues and leave theirs long. It's just my preference that I do what I got to do and cut them off and bend them over so you can't see them. So you want them to blend in as much as you can. Now see, I don't, all my scrolls, my things aren't scrolling again. Are you still working from home, Pam? That's great. Oh, that's right. Your job is from home. You didn't get to go home. I get to stay home for about at least 4 weeks, 6 weeks. My boss is not happy. But they will do just fine without me. So I say. I'd rather not have the procedure, but I kind of like to walk. Feels like the top of my foot is broken. Angela, if you want to pay for his plane ticket, he's for hire. So, I'll send you mine. You send me yours. I need another ribbon rack. Where am I going to put it? He says, where am I going to put it? In the hallway. I don't have a garage. She's got part of her studio in her garage. She does some inside the dining room and some. Ooh, I hit my button. The comments aren't scrolling tonight. I don't know why. I know, I forgot, Pam. You're permanently at home. She can go to work in her pajamas. That's what my daughter said, you know, the kids don't need school clothes, they can do their work in their pajamas. She wore her. Angela, you're all over the house. Roy smiled.
I drink booze while we're doing this.
Oh, he wants to have a drink. A hard drink. Angela talks about vodka or something when her dad's there.
I like vodka.
I don't think it would be wise that the designer drink, though. Might turn out bad. So we'll finish these Woodland ruffles. I forget who the designer was. I was going to look that up last time. Who the designer is. Oh, hi, Laura. Happy hour tomorrow, Floyd. She's doing happy hour. Remember, 3 hours ahead. You've not gone to work in your pajamas? Yeah, well, I'd like to go to the gym, Pam, but I can't bring myself to do it. Plus, my foot hurts. See, even though that's just one layer, see how it's filling out real nice? So this would be a woodland ruffle version of a pancake wreath. The pancake wreath, you normally just do it in ruffles. It's pretty flat. But as you see, this is pretty thin too. So it's like if you wanted to put one between your storm door and your regular door, though you wouldn't be able to add up a bunch of stuff. When you have that pin, it doesn't move up.
That's the whole purpose of it being thin.
Well, my comics don't. I forgot to make a couple extra. So you see how we got a hole in the middle? So when you put your sign or your bow or anything on it, it's just going to sink in. So let me make sure I have all my one, two, three, four. Aha! Oh, there's one there. Okay, so we'll put this one in the middle. So if you put a ruffle in the middle, or poofs, or something, it will help you keep all your stuff standing up. So I put a cross, just took 2 pipe cleaners and made a little cross. And then I'm just going to attach another one to do this other ruffle right in the middle. Grab it. There we go. Now see, it's not real full, but we're going to add some rolls, so that will help that. This is our base, the woodland ruffle. We have, I've already cut them. These are cut at 10 inches. Most time when people do roll, they're at 10 inches because you really just don't need to waste that extra mesh. If you had a very thin mesh, if you buy mesh from, don't do it, but if you buy mesh from Dollar Tree, it is really thin. Joanne Fabrics mesh is really thin. I've used it for a base, but if it's really thin, you might want to cut them a little bit longer so you can do extra rolls, so you can still see the color in your wreath. So now we're going to get out. I went and bought a bow dabber today to use for an extra hand. So we're just going to make our rolls, and then see, you can use a bow dabber for an extra hand. Some people hold them in their hands while they're rolling all 3 and then putting them in there. Nah, why do it? You can get I used to think you could get them at Walmart, but you can't get them at Walmart anymore. They have some kind of knockoff that I didn't want to try. It didn't look right for what I wanted to use it for. And then we're going to go ahead and first time ever, and I'm going to do it on camera. We're going to add our tails, our ribbon tails, to our rolls and put it all together. So I'd already cut up the rest of them, but this one I had not. So I wrapped mine around. There's a 12-inch quilter's ruler. And this is 12 inches, so my tails are 12 inches. So I just take my ribbon and wrap it around. You count as you go around. So I have 9 of each color. And then they're folded. Always use wire ribbon. Don't use gross grain because it'll just flop around on you. So you just go in there and find your fold. And then we're going to put dovetails on it.
Stacy said her rolls always look sloppy.
They always look sloppy. Are you not? Now, I roll my rolls extra tight. Some people don't prefer that. But see how mine's probably only done about 2.5 times around, cutting it 10 inches. And then it poofs out a little bit after I let go of it. So try rolling them, and I'm no professional, I'm not, but try rolling them a little tighter and see if that doesn't help. So we're gonna dovetail these while we got them out. Some people will cut like the whole stack all together. I tend to not do that just because then your dovetail gets a little sloppy. So just cut it. I cut it wrong. So you cut it on the fold. See, I did it wrong. I cut it on the edge. Cut it on the fold. Then it makes a nice dovetail. Stacy, where are you from?
Stacy said thank you. She'll try that.
You're welcome. Where's everybody from? Is it here in this way or that way? Okay. We are still working out all the tweaks of trying to get the sound and the video. So I want you guys to be able to see. Turn our fan on. It's hot in here. It's a little room. So we got our 3 rolls in here, and we're gonna start with our scarecrow. So this is our 2.5 inch scarecrow, and we're gonna match it with this plaid. You're gonna put it right on top. Can you see this in the screen? So we fold it in half to find our midpoint, and then you're gonna kind of scrunch it just like you're doing your ruffle, and then kind of just make it like just kind of fold it, flatten it out, and you're still pinched, and that's like a little bird. So we're gonna put it all together. Bring it out, still hang on to it. We're gonna put it all in all at once.
Stacy's from Pittsburgh.
You're from Pittsburgh. That's not too far from here. About hours, half. Yeah, about an hour and a half. So, some people put their ribbons in crosses. A lot of people will put their outside ones. Just alternate them and just make them all point out. That way when you put extra things on your wreath, it will still show your ribbon tails. I don't have no pattern to where I put my rolls in my wreath, but I try to start on a different color just to have some variation. Unless you want a really uniform look, you can do what you want. So we put our scarecrow ribbon in last time, so now we're going to do our tricolor and our pumpkins. And by flattening that out, that just kind of makes it where it'll help them to better lay in your wreath. This is the first time I've ever put all 3 of these in here, plus the ribbon tails. It's just a little bit to hold on to. So bend them back over. And then if you have them the same ribbon next to each other, just manipulate them where you want them to go. The fuzzy sticks have wire in them. Your ribbon should have wire in them. Though actually this is wireless, but it's so stiff that I like it.
that Bodabra so much easier.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so excited about it. My husband we woke up this morning, he's like, didn't you want a Bodabra for your live? I'm like, yes, Walmart didn't have one. So we drove to Michael's. It's about half an hour away, not too far. And of course I came home with some other goodies. Have to pay attention to your pattern when you're using 4 different colors of ribbon and alternating them, because one of my lives I put some together right next to each other.
Stacy wants you to show a close-up of the rolls and the ribbon.
So like in my Bodabra, and then just pull it out. I just grab onto it all and pull it out. Try to do this backwards. I'm short and this counter's counter height, not table height. Always twist it twice to make sure everything's in. And then bend them over. And then make them where they alternate. See? Does that help, Stacy? I'm not seeing the comments, so you'll have to tell me. Okay. So the Bodabra you can actually make bows with. Lori on Hardworking Mom, she showed some tutorials where you kind of use it. I'll show you when we make our other bow, but there's no like line numbers to tell you how many inches you're making your tails or your bows, so it's a little more difficult. You can use your grid on your mat to do that. But I like the Easy Bodabra. There's Pro Bow by hand. There's, I don't know, that thing looks like an octopus. The Pro Bow by hand. It's got all these dowels and things that you can put on.
Stacy said yes, thank you. She's going to try that style on her next week.
Awesome. This is the first time I've done it this way. I've been wanting to try it because it looks like it makes things go a little faster. Because I was putting my rolls on, going all the way around, and then I was putting my ribbon tails on. So I was like going around and around and around. So I thought maybe this would help things go a little faster. That's why I try to have everything cut up, so you guys don't have to watch how it's cut up. See, it does stick to each other. Just don't pull on it real hard because you'll pull out some of your strands. See, Stacy, some people they want to do really loose rolls, or a lot of people will take the tube from the inside of your roll and they use that as a guide. See how thick that roll is? To me, that's too big and your edges are almost to each other, so I don't use that method. A lot of people use that when they do their woodland ruffles as well. To me, it's just too big of a roll. I know I do mine a lot tighter than everybody else, but I think it still looks okay. I think I'm liking this. It's going a lot faster. I used to think, why fold it in half? I can see where the middle is, but it really does help. Especially when you're doing the outside. You really see if you did not get in the middle when you keep your ribbon ties like that, because one will be shorter than the other. Have you been making wreaths long, Stacy? For 4th of July, I like the all foil mesh. It's a little more expensive, but it is so pretty. But it's like, you could pull one little foil out and it's going to make it look funny. I thought about getting some silver like that and do another winter wreath. That might look really pretty, especially if it's in the lit lights. Floyd's been busy this week making signs. The last 2 lives I've used my own signs, and we sold quite a few. Angela, we even sold some clear out to California. Then make sure your rolls aren't stuck to each other or the other mesh. They won't stand up very well.
Stacy said she's been doing this almost 2 years. She's come a long way, but still has a lot.
There's always tons to learn. I've only been doing it since the end of February. Then, of course, COVID hit. And then, I had to make the decision. First, I started just to kind of do something when I got home. I don't have any kids at home anymore. And it's just my husband and I. My adult son lives here, but he's doing his own thing. So I started doing it because my job's kind of stressful. And then a couple people's like, hey, can you make me one? I'm like, yeah. So that kind of started the business. And then, of course, we've delved into t-shirts and decals, and now it's license plates and my own signs. My husband but we debated whether to buy our sublimation printer, and then I kept seeing everybody make their cool little signs, so I'm like, all right, we're gonna buy one. And I'm like, oh, why didn't we do this to begin with? And I will mess with my ribbons, like, probably to the day I sell it. Even I store mine in a box. I buy shipping boxes, and that's how I store mine. And I will get them out, make sure there's no frays, fidget with the ribbons, make sure the bow's all nice and poofy before I'll take it to the person I'm selling it to. And then I always put the ribbon that I use for my tails in my bow. But and then you add some more. But I always just get out my colors. I probably got, 8 or 9 things of ribbon sitting there. I never know how many layers I'm going to put in it. I watch tons of tutorials. Damon from Deco Exchange, he does like a 7 layer, go 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 2 1 2, whatever. And I did that, but the stack was so high, I had one blowout on me. I was so mad. I think I just walked out of the room. But it happens. At least the creases were still there. You knew where you had to bend it. And you can either wait till the very end to trim your frays off. I kind of do it as I see them. I'll think I have them all, then I'll take it outside and hang it up, and because the light goes through it, and I'll find so many more. I do spray mine. Floyd brought up the can because I always say it wrong. It is triple thick clear, crystal clear glaze. So it's from Krylon. Buy it at Walmart. But I do spray mine with that just to keep the fraying down. A lot of people don't spray their wreaths at all. That's just a personal choice. They say it yellows them, but I have not had anybody complain. I don't like coat it completely. It's just I spray mostly the ends of the mesh.
Stacy said the wreath is looking beautiful. She loves the fall color.
Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, fall. So far, even though I do like summer, the fall colors have been my favorite too.
Until you start on Christmas.
Until I start on Christmas. When I went to Michael's today, I needed to get some more Chanel stems for fall because I ran out of orange. I don't have any more like beige or anything. So I got a big pack of, I think it was orange and brown or something, or orange and yellow. And I was going to get a pack of brown. And then Floyd finds 3 colors in a pack, one for fall, one for Christmas. So we got those. If you do have ribbons that are a little softer, like I always use, this is canvas, the canvas ribbon, and this is a linen ribbon. So you see how there's a little more give in the linen. I won't use, I try not to use. Sometimes you can't tell. Some of the sites don't list what they're made out of. Craft Outlet does. If you scroll down and look at the additional info, it will tell you what it's made out of. Satin is horrible for a wreath. To me, anyway. Cannot make a bow out of satin to save my soul. But I have, anyway, where I was going with that, is if you have some softer ribbon, after you make your bow, when I spray my wreath, I spray a little bit more on the bow if it's got some softer ribbon in it, and it helps stiffen it up. And then when it dries, it just takes a couple minutes because you're not going to drown it. It kind of helps stiffen up the ribbons a little bit. That's a Jeanette trick. So this is our last one of our outer wreath. Or outer circle, I should say. So, this is what we got so far. I wish Facebook didn't lag so much, I can't like see it. Is it? The other night it just lagged on forever. It's horrible. So now when you do the homemade ties, sometimes the ties get next to each other from outer ring to inner ring. So when you are doing it this way and putting your ribbons on, or whether you do it the other way, you kind of want to see where. So I have a scarecrow, and here are my 2 scarecrows. So let's see if we can find one right here in the middle of those 2. So they kind of alternate. So here's where you make a choice. You can spread out your ribbons like this, or let's see here, you can do them in a crisscross method. So tie them in there and give them a yank. Because if you tied it good, it's not going anywhere. So this is the tulip method, the cross method, however you want to call it. So I kind of just take my fingers and curl the wires in the ribbon. And then you have a crisscross.
Sam said it's looking good. Did you make it look easy?
Oh, Thanks, Pam. So my very first live, so this is number, what, 4? Yeah, this is number 4 live. My very first one, I was literally nauseous the entire day. And Pam knows I'm not a scaredy cat. But I was really nervous all day long. And then I've talked to several people that are like, I know I should be doing a live, but I just don't know where to start. Just do it. I was up here for like 3 hours. I had all my stuff laid out. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And believe me, if it's going to happen, or if it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong on a live. Just the way it is. I have put ties in the wrong way. I've skipped when your mesh is all nice and full, I've skipped a tie. Nobody knew it though because I did it. All you can do is fix it. You're going to fix it in real life, so, and that's what things people need to learn, you know. If they make a mistake, how are you supposed to fix it? So, why not do it on a live? Not that I'm going to make mistakes on purpose, though. As Angela says, we don't make mistakes. We make happy accidents. You just tulip it out. Now some people, you know, I have little pumpkins. You could even hot glue a pumpkin right there in the middle. Turn my glue on in case I need it. Flash stack. Now see, if you get little, I'll pull it out here. So if you get little ties out there further, you can unroll it, or you can snip it off. I choose to snip it off. See, I already got a fray going on there before I even stick it in there. One live, I didn't cut enough ribbon, so I just got it out and cut another one. No biggie. I don't see how people sit. Angela sits while she does her wreaths. I even when I was just doing them here, I just, you know, by myself. I can't sit, and so my husband helped me build a countertop height table. I do have a stool back here. But I still can't do it sitting on a stool either. I haven't cut my ties off yet because I haven't decided what all I was going to do. Because if you get the work wreath form with the really thick ties that have big chenille fluffy stuff on them, I've seen people, instead of cutting them off, if they're going to put anything in the middle of their ties, like right down in the middle, they will say it's a styrofoam ball. They'll take a thing in it and poke a hole and put it right on the tie.
Angela says she doesn't like to sit, but inside she sits, outside she stands.
Oh yeah, you do stand outside. I know that one night when Roy was making your ribbon rack, I'm like, why is he over there making noise while she's trying to do a live? Well, here he was making his ribbon rack. This is going a lot faster because we're not even quite at an hour, and I've got them almost all in. Just remember, the more you mess with your mesh, the more it's going to ravel and fray on you. Yeah, I know, you have a garage. I want a she shed. We've actually gone and looked at them. Priced one out, what I want in it. Cute little cottage looking one. Not yet. I don't think I cut enough mesh. I didn't. So see, there, oops. So we need 2 more. Shows out there. So I cut one less, one too many ribbons and 2 less mesh. Well, now we'll just give a lesson on mesh. So if you have 3 colors of 10-inch mesh that you're going to cut, why cut one at a time? Just have a sharp rotary cutter and some weights. So I just roll mine out. I don't have a mesh roller yet. Roll them on top of each other. Now, a lot of people, even though they have 3 here, will still cut them basically one at a time. Even up your ends here. So I only need 2. Or 2 sets, I should say. There's 1. And there's 2. That's how I cut mine. I mean, it's up to personal preference how you're going to cut your mesh. That's how I've cut mine since I started.
Angela asked if those would be all metal scissors. She's trying to buy some.
But these are the Ginger scissors. Gingher. They are stainless steel, I think. They can be sharpened, I know. So, yeah, they're made in Italy. That freeze? Sometimes it'll come back, hopefully. Oh, there we go. We got momentarily interrupted. So, yes, Angela, these are, they're from Italy. They're the Ginger scissors. And then I also have the painting shears, where they cut the little zigzags at the edge of the fabric so it doesn't ravel. If you do any fabric cutting or any crafting with fabric, those are awesome. Very expensive. That's why I only bought them with a coupon. But they are nice and they stay sharp. I try not to cut anything, bad with them. But I cut metal in the ribbon, the little pieces of metal edging, so they're durable. So when I push these in, push them down real tight before you bring them out. So you kind of got them all smooshed together on my tie. It's exciting. Where did it go? Okay. Back in you go. So I got one side. Oh, it was hiding. Okay, let's try that again. It's one thing when you use the little skinny fuzzy sticks, as my granddaughter calls them, Schnell stems. They like to hide underneath the mesh.
I told Angela that you bought your scissors and turned them into a 50% off coupon. She replied back awesome, she's gonna get something like it.
Yep. Yeah, they're about $60 regular price, but you know, $30 for a really good pair of scissors. And then I have other things.
Just make sure you use the coupon.
Yeah, make sure you use the coupon because they're expensive. And you know, I have other scissors to cut other stuff with. Last one. It will be. See, now how do we end up with? We should have an even number. It's okay. It will be okay. No, it will not be okay. Because we have. Oh, that's my middle tie. Nope, that's on the rim. Oh, here it is, though. Oh, no, put those on there. So if you do it separate and put your rolls on first and then your ribbon, I wouldn't open up your ties unless you've just got real short ties or too much stuff in your ties that you need to open them up, because then you're liable to have a hot mess. Okay. Here's what we got so far. It's a plain, well, it's not plain, but you know, even something like this, you could just put your sign on it and call it good, if that's what you want. But that's not what you want. Here's our sign again. This is like, I opened it up and I'm like, ooh, what's wrong with it? It's like a sublimated vinyl coated metal frame. It's different. So I use 26 gauge wire. It's really thin. Don't poke your finger with it because it'll be sore for a few days. Earlier I went looking for, I have a little itty bitty hammer. See? Little bitty. It's my baby. Looking for my hammer, hammering my dowel rod down into my bow maker, and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, it's always in my carousel. Here my husband had it next door in his craft room. Bad him. So we're just going to poke it through. And you really don't, it used to bother me that you put the wire over the edge, but you really don't see it when you got it down in your wreath. Because sometimes things are hanging over the edge of your sign anyway. So just wrap it around there a few times, make it good and tight. You don't want your sign falling off, especially if you're selling them. I always worry about that when I'm selling my stuff, that did I put it on tight enough? Did I make it pretty enough? So, don't need those ties there. So like I said, I just cut my ties off. I think I'm going to put anything else on there that I need my ties for. So I leave just a tiny, like a 1/4 of an inch above, because I have had oopses where I had to untie my ribbons and move them or something. Maybe a little bit more, 1/4 inch. So you can just bend them over. But to my point is, I don't like to see them. I don't want to see my fuzzy sticks and my ties. Don't cut your ribbon. I have bigger snips that I use on other stuff. Other one's hiding down below. I can't wait to start making Christmas, but I made the winter one just because I wanted to make something with my sign. But I'm trying to hold off because, you know, once you go to Christmas, it's like, you know, going backwards, back and forth. But I'm probably going to make a Christmas one. Maybe make it with my new gnome sign I made today. Oh yeah, I do. I have one breast cancer awareness wreath. I just made it. I didn't do it on a live. I just made it. I'll probably make another one on a live though, because I have a ton of breast cancer awareness ribbon, and that is it leopard print, cheetah print. I'm not sure what kind of print it is, but it's really popular this year. They're putting it on clothes. Walmart has a whole sweater. I was with another manager, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Yeah, it's her, it's not me." You don't want to see this and nothing cheetah print. I'm just making sure all my ties are cut off. You don't want to see them. Takes away from the beautifulness. That's a word. I made it. I don't know if I missed any. I can get them. Okay. So some people have little signs and embellishments, or they have mixed signs and big embellishments. I am not going to give him an enema tonight. He's full of like rocks or something, and I forgot, or I would have done it easier. So he's a little heavier because he's a shelf sitter, to make him stand up. But we're gonna put him in a wreath, and it'll make a wreath too heavy. So I will attach him tonight so we can see, but I will not permanently attach him, just because I'll have to take him back out and give him an operation. So decide where you want, you know, your embellishments. Like I said, I normally just get a whole basket full. Even when sometimes I'll put flowers or leaves in my wreaths. Thought that was really weird at the beginning, but now I've kind of got it. You got to have the right kind of wreath. So, you can put it in the middle, you can put it off to the side, up top, up bottom. We're going to kind of put this one towards the top and the side a little bit, make room for Mr. Scarecrow. Now when you pull on your wire, don't pull on it too tight. You don't want your sign like sinking down in and then you're, pulling on it to go down that way. Just have it sit on there snugly. I'm just wrapping, I ran it right down through. If you have a lot of mesh on top of your wreath, that, I kind of just moved mine over so I could see through to the back. But I've had wreaths where you couldn't do that, and the wire just nicely goes right through the mesh and to your back. So I always cut my wire too long because I don't want to have to fight with it. So I'm just digging to find me a hole. If I could lift this, I'd show you that I'm just poking it through my finger through the back. So there again, don't pull it down too tight, but you do want it snug. Mr. Scarecrow's gonna fall off. One more time. And you do not want to jam this wire up through your foot either because it hurts. Hurt my finger, hurt for 2 days. So what I would do is pretend he's light, he's not heavy. See, we've got our suspenders in the back, or you can take wire. If their pants come off, you can run wire through the stuffing in here. Sometimes you'll have to make a slit and put the wire through, but then you want to put some glue on there so it doesn't pull the material apart. So we're going to see how we can. Oh, I can feel his butt. The suspenders do come off. Oh, but they're sewed on the front. Up they go. Somebody was putting some kind of doll on their wreath, and their pants came completely off, but it was a homemade doll. So she'd gotten it on Etsy from somebody. So we're going to use a little bit thicker wire. This is 22 gauge. Thicker. That's a little, even with it, when I take all the rocks or sand or whatever is on the bottom of it, they'll still be a little heavier from a normal, what we normally put on wreaths. So I'm just going to attach him through his suspenders right now, but what I would suggest, or I could probably, oh, there he goes. So I'm just sticking a hole, making a hole. You don't want to do too little of fabric because it'll rip. So let's see if I can get that. Oh, maybe. Side of the suspenders. See? So we give them a stitch. So just wrap your wire around there. I'll put a couple dots of glue on that so it doesn't rip. If you glue anything, you'll want a finger caught. little things. You can buy them at Joann's, you can buy them at Walmart, you can buy them at the Dollar Tree. I got some at both places. So, when I first started making wreaths, I got some really bad burns. I mean, like peel your skin burns. And get some of these and you're golden. And you're not peeling glue off your fingers all the time either. Cut this little tag off. I don't need to know if it was made in China or Taiwan or wherever. So I may have to put some more wire on him because he is kind of big. This is actually probably the biggest thing I've ever put on a wreath as far as this kind. So we're just going to fish it down through the bottom. If the bigger the embellishment you put on, the heavier the wire you want. Don't worry about what you're doing to your ribbons or anything. You can straighten them out in the end. See if I can not poke myself. So this one you want on pretty firm, you know. Don't want them going anywhere. So I'm just wrapping it around. Let's see here. So I just took my wire, I got it wrapped around two of the cross members, and then I'll cut off some. Like I said, I always cut my wire too long, but I'd rather have it longer than shorter. And then I'll wrap it a little bit more around the wreath form. Now I don't normally put things on the back of my wreath like to cover this back. You can use, I think we got some around here. You go to Dollar Tree and get those little straw round mats like Grandma used to keep on her patio table, and you can just zip tie them all around to the outside. I've seen people put mesh, like you can do yarn mesh, plastic mesh. I've seen them cut that and put that on the back of it. It's totally your preference. You can take some felt and cut it and put over here to keep the wire, but you don't want your wreath scratching somebody's door, because then that's going to just give you a bad review. Really cute. So we're going to make a bow. Put right here. Not a big one because our sign's so big, and here's the deluxe bow maker, easy bow maker. You got your 2 dowels here, and your one to put your ribbon on. I really don't know what that little one's for. I put it in there because the instructions told me to, but I've never used it. So, of course, we're going to use our scarecrow ribbon because that's in our wreath. What am I doing with my scissors? Oh, they're right here. I dovetail my tails, ribbon tails, when I do it each time, just so I don't have to go back and do it at the end. So I'm going to make about an 8-inch tail. You guys see? So we're going to make an 8-inch tail, and then I'm going to pinch it, and then I'm going to twist, and then we'll put it down through the middle. So now you have a right side and a wrong side. So I'm going to only make about a 5-inch loop. This has got marks from 1 to 8. So put your finger or put your ribbon down, put your finger on the 5, and then you twist. So every time you come through, you twist until the last time where you wouldn't change your ribbon, and then you don't. I'll show you that in just a minute. You just bring the tails down so I can see my numbers. Put your finger in there. I know know the big fad right now is 4-inch ribbon. I don't know how people twist it. I can barely do the 2.5, let alone 4. Now some people, because this has a directional image, does it by hand. I cannot. Because then that way your tails have the same direction of Scarecrow. There is another way to do that. You do it part by hand and part with your bow maker. I'm not going to do that tonight. So I'm going to make 4 5-inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I have no method to my bows. It's kind of like I start making it and then I just stop when I want to. So here's the last one. I twisted it, but I undid it. You want to make sure that your edges get towards the outside and then just push it down. Because you want the right side up on your last one, because it's going to make your second tail. Go ahead and subtail it. So, here's our other tricolor that we put in our 8-inch tail. Now see, this is one, whether it's on this side or this side, it's almost the same. The center's more narrow because you know it's on top. You still want to twist. Even if you can't tell what's right side up, you always want to twist it in the middle. So this is going to be another 5-inch one, but we're just going to put 1 loop on each side. So, here's another Jeanette trick. You can't keep your ribbon from popping up out of your bow maker, put a clothespin on it. Because I watch other people and they're trying to hold their ribbon down and get their other supplies that they need, and this one, I think, got a really pretty green plaid or green stripes. This one's a little bit brighter green. Which ones do you guys think I should put in next? I can't see the comments. What will delay? You guys want to see the plaid or the stripe? Meeny, meeny, miny, mo. Nobody's gonna pick, I'm gonna have to. We're gonna put 2 of the 2.5 inches, a very narrow stripe. Use a clothespin, just take it back out. I try to keep all my tails down here where they're going to need to be. So I'm going to do this about 4.5 inches. Just remember, the more layers you make on here, the thicker everything's going to be. Now if you're fretting about, because you can't see your numbers down here, just take your ribbons and meet them up at the top, and then you'll be good.
Paint thick stripes.
Well, that's good, Pam, because nobody was picking, so I picked for you. Now we're going to go down to 1.5 inch. We have our orange and green plaid that we had in our wreath. Unless you run out or you're not making a bow, I always put the ribbon I used in my bow or in my wreath in my bow. Some people do very long tails and then they curl them. I only would do that if I'm going to put the bow at the top of the wreath, which I'm not. So here we're going to go about 1/2 inch shorter again. So we're going to be at about 4. I get pretty tall on this one. So we're going to put 2 loops. And then we're just going to put a middle, it's not even a full loop, it's like a 1/2 loop. What it does is it kind of, you know, in the old fashioned bows, it's got that little centerpiece. That's what it's going to be. And these are pumpkin. So all I do is make a tail, make 1 little loop. I kind of just put 3 fingers in there. Now it'll look like both tails are going to be on the same side of the bow, but they're not when we're done. We need a tall one for this one. So we got a big. Some people will pick these up and just put a Chanel stem around them. I don't feel that I get the tightness that they need, especially if they're a really tall one. So I use skinny zip ties. So make sure that you are putting your zip tie in the middle of all your ties, or else you're going to zip tie your bow to your bow maker. So you don't want to tighten it down too much. Get your Chanel stem in there. Okay, moment of truth. Don't drop it. Because we want our zip tie to be over here where our dowel rod is. That's where the center is. So see that big indent? I don't know if you can see it from my hand. I just moved my, this one's so tall I can barely get my fingers around it. So move your knot of your tie down. Now I'm still not going to tighten this down all the way down. So flip it over to the back. Get all our ties. You don't want to yank on it too hard because right now you're not completely tightened. But having it a little loose will allow you to move things around. And the whole idea is to have your ribbon stay, or your bow stay in the stack. That's where all the divots were, where you had your bow maker dowels.
Yeah. Pam says, oh my, we still think alike.
Why?
Pick the same ribbon.
Oh, yeah. Except for somebody left me. Okay, so I got all my tails down. So I leave my zip tie on for just a few more minutes. So we're going to take our bottom, we're going to spread them out. Depends on how many of your bottom loops you have. You know, if you have 3, just make a tree. You don't really put any right here where the tails are because you're not going to see them. And then I made one other one the same size. So you just kind of want it in the middle. Then I made 2 green. Put them on each side of your brown one. There. I kind of flip it over top to bottom. Don't pull too hard, but just kind of manipulate them where you want them. And then we have our 2 plaid. Spread them out. Then your middle. Kind of just make it. This is where you can make one on one side and one on the other side. So then flip it over and pull like mad. So leave that on there just for a few more minutes while you hold on. It gives you something to hold on to on the back. And you flip out your bow. Now, once you get it tightened, you can jerk on it, pull on it, or should, if you did it right. You kind of, so if your ribbon on the back gets twisted in the middle, you know, because you're twisting and putting it down the bow maker, that's what this motion is getting it to where it needs to be. So if you're twisting and going back and forth, while you got your hand in the loop, you're doing 2 things. You're making your loop poof out, and you're also getting the core of your ribbon straightened out so where your loops will lay right. Make sense? I hope so. So I finally had to ask her one time, why are you just sitting there twisting on that? And she explained it to me. So kind of right now it looks like a big octopus. And I will mess with this bow until probably I sell it. Just because bows get flattened really easy. Especially if you're doing anything with your wreath to where it's going to be turned upside down. And then you have to poof it out again. So here's where, kind of like on my ribbons on there, kind of take it, you're going to run your fingers along the wires and it's going to curl it for you. The 2.5 is a little bit harder for me to do. Remember that one didn't have a wire, so it's kind of just hanging out there. And you can do this, you can make it curl as much as you want or as little as you want. I can just curl this a little bit. There you go. See? How's that look? My bows are getting better. Okay, so we'll come over here. We're gonna, after we're done doing all that, we'll cut off our zip tie. Now you can have a little bit of your, depending on what's on your sign is dependent on how much you're willing to cover up a little bit of it. This one's not too bad, so find your way down through your mesh, find your wire frame. And this again, you don't want to pull it down. See how I just yanked my bow out and it looks like it was going down into a sinkhole. You don't want to do that. So normally I usually start off at 6-inch bows. I started off at 5 this time just because I didn't want it to be terribly overbearing. How's it looking? So I think this ended up so big that I don't want to put a whole lot on it, because if you put too much stuff on it, it's just going to cover up your mesh. So you can usually tear these apart, cut them apart, do whatever you want to, depending on how you're going to do it. They usually have this paper around them. You can rip them apart. That's a little cute little thing, a little curly cue. Maybe I'll put that back on there. So, if I tore something apart and I want to put it back together, we need some floral tape. It was on a roll. It was back behind my bobbers, so I didn't bring it out. But it's not sticky. I got too much. But it sticks to each other, or itself. So just keep wrapping around really tight. It just tears. See? Now they're back together. Trim them off a little bit. So maybe we'll put a couple in here. You don't want this to go clear through to the bottom. You don't want it poking out the back. But you also want to put it where it's going to glue to something to keep it in your wreath. And I guess the golden rule is to work by 3. So whatever little things that whether it be pumpkins or sparkly balls or the rule of 3. You're supposed to put 3 of each things in there. Or not each, but 3 of, like, pumpkins. I don't really abide by rules, so my husband's over there laughing. I'm not an over-the-top person. I usually don't put too much stuff in my wreath just because it takes away from what I feel is the true beauty of it. So I think we'll be done with this one. Yeah. We want to switch. Okay. So we switched back over so you guys can see the whole thing. I think it's cute. And then I will take it out and I'll spray it tomorrow and rearrange my ribbons again and take some pictures of it. So I'll take a picture of it tomorrow and post it on Facebook. So it'll be in my Etsy shop. If anybody ever has any questions, feel free to message me. I'm not an expert by no means. We learn by error. We learn from each other. So I want to thank everybody for staying with me this evening and helping me make my pumpkin wreath. And I'll be off the air for about a week and a half for my surgery, and then I'll come back. So thank you for staying, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.